everyone, and welcome to our Doterra leadership training this evening. Before we begin to our training, let me introduce you our speaker for tonight. They both saw people that had the same passion for healing that they did and committed to different level of doing the business. Through Doterra, they are now able to spend more time together and work together in their Doterra business. Let us all welcome Blue Diamond leaders, Evan and Melissa Esguerra.
Yay.
Hey everyone.
Hi everyone. Hi. Okay, so today we're gonna go over a little bit of continuing education and how to teach continuing education classes. But before we start that, I'd just like to know if we kind of segment the training into there's a basic class, like what we call like an Essential Oils 101, where you tell someone what oils are, how to use them, and what makes Doterra different. Like those three things is what we normally teach in a basic class. We call that Essential Oils 101. And then the follow-up question on top of, are you teaching an Essential Oil 101 class? Is that what you teach normally? How many of you are teaching continuing education classes, like oils on top of Essential Oils 101? Like examples are toxin-free living, essential oils for babies, essential oils for women's health and hormones, men's health and hormones, right? Are any of you guys teaching that? And then if you are, what topics are you guys teaching in those?
A lot of people, when they get started with Doterra, one of the handouts that we have available that's part of our training program is the Natural Solutions handout. The problem with doing only that class is that, first of all, the title is not very, not a lot of people can identify with.
Like not alluring.
It's not, yeah, like if you have, let's say you have digestive issues and you're looking at essential oils for digestive issues, or you're looking for natural solutions for digestive issues, you don't know that essential oils would be the solution yet. So if you saw an essential oils basics class, you might not put two and two together yet. Or if you are talking to a friend, let's say you're not yet signed up with Doterra, but you're talking to a friend and they're inviting you to an essential oils class, you're not necessarily thinking about your digestive issue. You might not be thinking about your desire to lose 10 pounds or your desire to balance your hormones naturally. But if your friend says, hey, I'm having an essential oils class for hormones, being more specific to your prospects, it gives them the opportunity to say, oh, I am curious about how essential oils can help me with my hormones, can help me with my digestion, whatever that is. Because the thing is the way that we're wired as human beings, we look for recognition, things that we identify with. And so you're really limiting the growth of your business by only doing basics classes. And I'll tell you guys that for us, well, when we first got started, we actually only taught specialty classes or continuing education classes. We rarely taught basics classes. And looking back, I actually think that's why we grew so fast. We were speaking to people's needs. And so that's really what Evan's going to talk to you about today is we have 8 different classes that we're going to be sharing with you. We took the time to go through these slides. These are slides that were introduced to us here in the US just a few weeks ago. We went through and edited every single presentation, every slide, so that it only speaks to Doterra Philippines products. So everything's been really tailored to the market here.
All right, so when even prospecting someone or talking to someone about Doterra, talking to someone about how essential oils might fit into their life, it's very important for us at least to ask a lot of questions, right? So when you're talking to someone you're just catching up with someone, it's important that you ask questions just to see that if Doterra and if essential oils would even fit into their life. So things like, how are you? How are your kids? And how's life? And then people, little by talking to someone will eventually tell you kind of what's going wrong in their life, right? Like, my kids are crazy. They run around all the time. They have no focus. I'm like, okay, perfect. Well, that's one, right? It's like, and then my husband snores all the time. I can't sleep at night. I've been having horrible sleep. Okay, cool. So the sleep class, I can leave it one. And then you're just thinking in your head, okay, this class would fit, this class would fit, this class would fit. And then you're kind of compartmentalizing them into what class might possibly fit them, right? And then when the class comes up that you're going to teach for them, then you could invite them knowing with the exact verbiage, like what they told you was wrong with them. So it's important whenever in this business at all to try to ask more questions than just presenting. Okay, so we do have this continuing education that we have 8 different continuing education classes. The very first one is got oils, now what? So basically like kind of like a membership overview, except you would do a membership overview, a proper membership overview after a person signs up. But then the next class you would maybe filter them into. Class number 1 of our continuing education is got oils, now what?
So the thing about continuing education is you can teach that these classes are meant to be taught to people that have not yet signed up, but more importantly, these classes are meant to be taught to your current customers. Your job as a wellness advocate, as a business owner, is to continue to expand the knowledge and the understanding of the value that doTERRA essential oils offer. You can't possibly, no matter how awesome of a class you have for a basics class or a natural solutions class, you can't possibly cover all the amazing things that doTERRA essential oils offer. So I think that people forget this. This is such a critical part of the business. People focus on only getting the enrollments. But you guys, the juiciest part, the most profitable part of your business is going to be the retention. And I think that, doTERRA talks about retention being really high for us as a company and all this positivity around retention. But the truth of the matter is that it takes real intention for us as business owners to acquire that retention in our own businesses. And you guys, this strategy, this is how people are doing it. All of us are new in the Philippines. doTERRA is brand new over here. And there's been a lot of emphasis on teaching the basics class. But it's time for us as doTERRA Philippines to expand how we're connecting with people. It's up to us to show them all the different areas of health and wellness that doTERRA can drastically affect. And that's exactly what these PowerPoints are going to offer for your people.
One thing that's in the build guide, like if you're ever to look at doTERRA as a business, is doTERRA's retention rate, like my wife talked about. And they say doTERRA's retention rate is 65%, right? That's company-wide. What that means is if that's the average, some people are near like 90% or 100%. Some people are on the lower scale. If you guys can think like what 65% retention rate means, if you sign up 10 people, that means you have 6.5 people or like 7 people on loyalty rewards. So out of you all on this call who have signed up, like anyone, right? How many of you have 7 out of 10 of your signups that are on the loyalty rewards program? And if you are, then I mean, congratulations, and I would like to talk to you a little bit more about how you're doing that in the Philippines. This is the first one. I have oils, now what? And then the basic layout is, say you have 16 slides, like 9 slides will be about the oils, right? So, I mean, we're just asking questions. Tell me 3 reasons you purchased doTERRA. And then here are the foundations. And you see, this is the original, right? Where, I mean, the foundation is Lifelong Vitality Pack, then TerraZyme, then PB Assist, all things that are not in the Philippines. And then we talk about rest and managed stress. Again, the Lifelong Vitality Pack, Serenity Soft Gels, Adaptive Oil, things that are not there. So we had to change all these. Then we go in here to 9 slides, use oils near water. Here's how to dilute, like a cool little graph to show you how you would dilute oils in roller bottle.
All the most common questions that people have right when they enroll with doTERRA. So you are now teaching a class about all the specifics.
We talk some basic things about that, and then at the end, like this is the end of the kind of the product portion of this continuing education class, is we would talk about this sample wellness box, LRP, right? So this is like many people don't even know like what to put in their LRP. So here's a sample of what you would put in an LRP. This is in the US market, right? You would put in a lifelong vitality pack and how much PV that is. You put in the On Guard, Copaiba, Balance, and Wall Orange. That would show you what the PV is and then what the dollar value is. And then see here, we changed all that here, right? So we went through and we changed it, right? So we go here. For example, here, this slide, that the foundation would be DDR Prime, Copaiba, Digestin, Frankincense, Lemon, right? Instead of whatever over here, there was deep blue rub, and we took out and made deep blue oil. For reducing your toxic load, instead of laundry detergent, we put in toothpaste, hand wash, formal concentrate, things that we have in the Philippines market. Then we go through here, and then we make our sample wellness blocks would be, you start with DDR Prime, and then these things, pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, so we just took what was going to be offered, what's offered in the US, and we just personal to the Philippines market. So what I love about this first presentation, I would invite every single person on this call, if you have customers that you've already enrolled, host this class. I've got oils, now what? Host this class online. I think that right now, I don't know about you guys, but Evan and I have had to make really big adjustments with just building online. You know, with quarantine being in place, not being able to come together in large groups, we're so used to building in person and hosting classes. And for us, knowing how to present online has been really challenging. You have to create a PowerPoint, you have to know what to say. These slides are so easy. So this particular class, I would encourage every one of you guys to host this class in the next 2 weeks. You have the slides done, go through and study it yourself. And my best recommendation when you're teaching a class on PowerPoint is you can use the PowerPoint as a guide, but take the time in advance and formulate your own stories for each of the products shared here.
Okay, so I mean, a little bit more about the details about this slide is that this order is meant to be, so it's over 125 PV. So you see it's total of it is a 138 PV. So if they made that LRP before the 15th of the month, they would also add here, plus you get your free oil of the month. Plus you get free product credits once on LRP. So all of these pluses, it's important that you don't just glance over and say, okay, here's the 5 things that you can get in the box. That's just a sample, and then that's it, right? It's important that you go over everything in the box, that you show them that they will also get 1 more free product in the month, 1 more free oil, and 1 more free products, right? So then it's also important for you to know the promotions right on the first, right when they come out. So then when you teach the class, that is the product portion of this class. And then we go here. The mantra is you use the oils for yourself. You share the oils with others, and then you teach other people about the oils. So then we go into a very brief presentation about the business opportunity, right? So we say there are ways you can pay for your oils, supplement your income, or you can replace your income depending on what you want to do. So then you go over here, and these are just from the build guide. This is what it means to be diamond, and then that's how much you made. These are per month, right? And then we made those all in Philippine pesos. And then we go here. One thing is you think about whose life you can change with these oils and with this product. Then you give your friend, this is really, really basic. If anyone who comes to the class wants to share oils with other people, this is like the 5-step process. Step number 5 is the end, so it doesn't really even count. But the very basic process for someone to help sign someone else up. Someone gives them a sample, they teach them 3 cool things about oils, teach them 3 ways how to use them, and then you show them the kits, and then you show them how to sign up. Very, very basic way to sign someone up. And then we end up on here, right? Some of these things are gonna change.
You can take, these are the slides that our team is using. You're more than welcome to take this slide and edit it for yourself. But you can just see what we do here. We want people to know how to be trained on the business if they really decide to go for it. So this is just a slide that's ours. So you don't.
Yeah. And so, this is a point of the talk where we point them to further training. So you could do whatever you want with that. And then here, and then the close, right? So it's just 17 slides, a very basic class. It should take under an hour. So we try to teach any class we teach. We aim at 45 minutes. And then if it goes a little over, that would be like 50 or 55 minutes. And then we're done on the hour.
Right. So the idea is that you can create a schedule, and whatever works for you. We were told actually that this is a system from Elise Sedavi, who has the largest doTERRA team in all of doTERRA worldwide. And so we love all of her stuff. This woman knows what she's doing. And what she recommends, and so we're doing this too, is she is recommending one class a week. So, you can add that in and to your essential oil basics class. Maybe, I think it's a good idea, like a good strategy to have one essential oil basics class per month. And then on the weeks in between, you're doing a cycle. You're cycling through these 8 continuing education classes. So the classes, I think these are really fun classes too, you guys. So we just went over God oils, now what? Class number 2 is gut health and essential oils.
Oh, gut health and digestive wellness.
The 3rd is toxin-free living. The 4th is oils for every age. So basically anti-aging, right? Skincare, stress, sleep, and hormones. Women's health and hormones. And number 8 is pain management.
All right, so a couple things in there, right? The oils for every age, it talks about it's not anti-aging so much, it's about oils for babies, oils for infants, oils for kids, oils for teenagers, it's like drops like what oils you would use for each of those different groups. And then the pain management, it talks about all different kinds of pain. It talks about joint pain, muscle pain, emotional pain, right? And then at the end of that, of course, like financial pain, right? So we help deal with all of those things, right? And doTERRA, once you like learn a little bit more about it, it can help people with every different aspect of their life.
So one of the things that Evan pointed out was at the end, we're inviting everybody to just learn a little bit about the business. I'm just curious, for those of you that are on the call, how many of you guys talk about the business at the end of every class? So I know that in the US, people tend to shy away from talking about the business at the end of their classes. But you guys, I think that is one of the biggest factors for people when they first get started about whether or not they're going to be able to rate advance quickly, is if they can get other people to join them in doing the business. I'll tell you, this skill took a long time for me to understand. And it kept me back from Diamond for a long time until I started bringing this into all of my classes. But once I did, I was able to accelerate the growth and the momentum that we saw on our team. And so this isn't about going through every page in the business overview guide. It's not about going into the details of the compensation plan. Taking the time to go through the details, that should be done one-on-one with people. Your role here is to introduce the big vision, to show people what's possible with doTERRA as a business in just a few minutes at the end of your class. That's really why we have those slides at the end here, because you want to get comfortable with doing that at the end of every single class that you do. I promise you're going to start having people walk towards you with the business.
When they're walking with you, like building their business, it would be important for them to have some sort of normal training. I mean, just like you guys are training right now, one question we always ask is training something you did, or is it something you do, right? So just like, I mean, right now it's quarantine, right? So even Steph Curry, he's practicing basketball. I mean, he's really good at it, right? But he's practicing still. LeBron James is still practicing, right? So if they're still practicing and they're already masters of their sport, right, we should always be learning and practicing because we're not even yet masters of what we're doing here. Okay, I just have one more thing to say is we have 8 PowerPoints we're going to give them to Vanessa. My wife already went over the names of them. There are 8 PowerPoints. We're going to give them to Vanessa, and then she will, well, they're not ready to give at this second, right? But we're going to give them by later on today. For us, yeah, so within the next 24 hours, they will be in Vanessa's hands. You can message her at philippines@doterra.com, and then she'll give you the link so that you can teach the PowerPoints. Yeah, so okay, one more idea that we kind of have about this is there are 8, right? You see 8. So after the first 4, the point is for them to get on the 125 PV LRP for the next month, right? So they do the first 4, they get on their monthly LRP, and they get the product of the month, right? If they do that, we like the idea of incentivizing them somehow to do that. So we give them maybe like a roller bottle filled with like some blend, like the Abundance blend or the whatever, right? So we put like 4 or 5 oils with fractionated coconut oil and made just for them, and we give that to them kind of as incentive if they do their first LRP. And then they teach them 4 more classes. So now they're doing 8, right? So they teach 4 more, and then do their second month LRP, and we give them another blend. Like here is a sleep time blend or something. And we make something, and then we give it to them, and then that's their present. But now they finished 8. So once they finish all 8 of the continuing education classes, we just give them a small certificate, like now you're certified for basic essential oils and plus continuing education. And then we give them some sort of small graduation present for doing all of those, maybe like a keychain with 8 sample vials, and then you give it to them, right? So this is what we're doing, but you guys can mix that up however you want. You can give them like whatever, a gift card or like a coffee gift card or whatever ideas you have. Our leaders in the Philippines have their own ideas. All of our leaders have their own ideas. So whatever you think would fit your people, I would just suggest as an option to maybe incentivize them at the first LRP and the second LRP. Because once you get someone with an enrollment plus 2 LRPs, then you're rolling, and then they know how to do it themselves, and then they know how to change up their cart and stuff like that. You give them so many different options for what could be in their cart. After doing the 8 classes, they should never not do the LRP because they don't know what to order, because you would have taught them now 9 classes, right? So they should have an idea of how doTERRA can help them. So a question?
Yeah, so I like this question, Patricia. I think this is a challenge a lot of people come into when they're building. She said, how can it not sound like you're just trying to sell oils when you're talking about oils to people? So I think number 1, we use this mantra all the time in our team. We say, when you start to feel like you're being salesy or you start to feel uncomfortable, it's probably because you are no longer aligned with your intention to help that person. You're probably starting to think about how you want them to behave. In that moment, just change your energy really quickly by just taking a second and inhaling your intention, exhaling expectation. When we have expectations for people, I think that's when we as humans start to get nervous or start to feel like we're being salesy. So drop the expectation. Don't worry about how they respond, and instead just show up with the intention. Like really breathe in, inhale that intention, because we communicate so much more with energy than we do with words. So that's number 1. And then number 2, I really am a big advocate for asking questions. What that means is before I share an oil sample or before I tell somebody what oils would be helpful for them, I actually get permission from them. And I do that by saying, well, have you heard of essential oils? Or are you open to trying something natural? Or I'm just curious, have you tried oils before? Something like that. That's if you're in a conversation, right? Now, you wouldn't if you're like trying to reach out to somebody to share essential oils with them, you're not gonna send them a message with, hey, I'm just curious, are you open to trying essential oils? If it's like a message out of the blue, right? So if you want to reach out and share oils with them for a specific reason, what I would do is I would say, like, let's say I'm messaging Vanessa. I would think to myself, what do I know about Vanessa? And what oils do I know could help Vanessa? So let's say Vanessa and I we're good friends. I know she struggles with headaches. So I would send Vanessa, I would call Vanessa, or I would send her a message, and I would say, Vanessa, I just found out, I know you struggle with headaches. I just found out that this essential oil blend is supposed to be really good for headaches. I got myself a sample and I loved it. Would you like me to make you one too? Right? So there's a question I start by telling Vanessa, I see you, I was thinking of you, and I have a solution for you. Basically, that's what I just said to her, right? And then I ended with some type of question, because I need to make sure that I've created space for Vanessa to walk towards me. That is how you drop the sales issue. You need to create a question of some kind, a dialogue where you can end with a question, because the question is what invites them forward. Yeah,
so I mean, what we want is, we don't want a situation where we're running around the whole Philippines chasing everyone, because if you do that, then they will run away from you, right? So we want a situation where we make ourselves so strong and such a strong magnet that people run towards us, right? It's much easier that way, right? So you ask questions. So the idea that I think in my head, Melissa has that mantra: inhale, intention; exhale, expectation. And what I think is, I try to change from trying to find people and find sales and close sales to I'm trying to find problems, right? So I'm looking around. I'm not finding solutions, right? I'm finding problems for them. Like, what pain points do they have in their life, or in their physical body, or their emotional body, or in their family, right? And then how might Doterra and the product that I have be able to solve those problems? The truth is, like, in my head, I really think, well, I might not be able to solve every problem, right? So maybe they have problems that I might not be able to solve. I don't know. So then I just really want to ask questions and see that even if it's a good fit, right? So even if someone says to me, like, in the middle of a class, okay, stop the class. How much? Right? Tell me how much. Well, I mean, to be honest, like, I would have to find out a little bit more. We'd have to have a conversation before I could even tell you if it's appropriate for this product, for you to even use the product. I don't even know, right? So, I mean, you want to ask questions to see. So that's it. Just ask a lot of questions, and that way you're not trying to sell them. They're trying to sell themselves more, right? So we want to switch it from us persuading them to them persuading themselves.
One thing you guys will get to see as you go through all the PowerPoints is how often we advocate for DDR Prime and Copaiba. So DDR Prime is one of the newer oils that we have here in the Philippines, and it is such a stellar oil. So if you haven't yet ordered that one, I highly recommend that you get that on your next LRP, because we talk about it a lot. And it is life-changing, you guys. Like, I went to bed feeling sick last night. Before I went to sleep, I did like 3 DDR Primes spaced out, 1 every hour. And I woke up this morning and I feel totally fine. Like, I felt a fever coming on and everything. Like, that DDR Prime is so amazing. I can't even tell you. And I'm so excited that we have it. So we have it in the soft gel and the essential oil. So definitely get that oil, because you'll see it a lot in these presentations.
Do they have the essential oil in the Philippines?
Oh, is it just the soft gel?
Soft gel only, yeah.
Okay, well, I have a tip for you guys about that DDR soft gel. There's a lot of people who struggle with lumps and bumps, especially women, in their chest area, in their lower abdomen. That oil should be like, keep a couple of soft gels in your bathroom so that you can apply that topically every single day, just to nourish healthy tissue. We include that, of course, with a lot of these things that we shared, but a hot topic that's not in these 7 slides, or these 8 presentations that we shared with you guys, is healthy tissue. And that DDR Prime does that. So there's a reason why we slipped that in quite often, because it does so much. But if you're new to that product, get it and be a product of that product. Like, it is fantastic. Like, just keep a safety pin next to your DDR Prime soft gels and just poke a hole and just apply it topically.
And then squeeze it, and then you have the oil. right?
Okay, I love this question. Somebody just messaged us privately on this one. How can you convince a husband to support your doTERRA journey?
Okay, well, I mean, just like our idea about if you chase everyone in the Philippines, they will run away. Like, I mean, if you go to, like, when the mall opens back up, you go to Greenbelt and just start chasing someone. See what happens, right? They're gonna run away, right? Or they're crazy, right? But okay, so chase anyone and they'll run away in any situation. So if you chase your husband, it's very unlikely that if you start chasing your husband, he's gonna run up to Port Royal Place and run up to the 6th floor and say, quote, talk to Michael Carson, and he wants to start doing the business, right? He will run away from whatever you're doing, right? So it's important for you to, little by little, like, help him see, like, what maybe problems he has or what different things that he wants, and then see how doTERRA and doTERRA as a business can help him with those things. So me particularly, I mean, I had like slight problems with, like, how can I provide more for my family? How can I protect my family? How can I protect myself? How can I stay young forever, right? So it's like doTERRA fits into all those things. It's like the products help you stay young looking, help you with joint pain. Like, I mean, I had pain. So then it's like, okay, what if you use Deep Blue for the pain, right? And then the pain went away. And it's like, okay, what if you help me with the business and then we help open up the Philippines? I'm like, well, that's something that speaks to me. So little by little, you find what speaks to your husband, because you know your husband more than any of us, right? And then you figure out how doTERRA could fit into, like, the questions and the little holes that he has in his life.
So I think I just want to speak to this point from Radhika. She said a lot of men are together with their wives in doTERRA. I just want to let you know that it is usually not the case in the beginning. So it's pretty typical for most men. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. This is a theme in the US, Canada, our team in the Philippines, same thing. Like, I think that when your husband is being resistant around you doing the doTERRA business, I think that oftentimes those husbands are coming from a place of trying to protect, right? Because that's very instinctual for husbands, to protect their wife from getting carried away in a network marketing scheme, right? That is a genuine concern for a lot of husbands. And so in order to speak to that, you do exactly what Evan says. You just want to calmly and patiently show up to help them, just like you would a prospect. So when they have a headache, hey, I just found out you can use Deep Blue oil for headaches. Do you want to try? You talk to them just like you do a prospect. And over time, they will see their minds open up. Now, another thing, I think this is a really important part about why husbands might, if you know a couple, why husbands might not be supportive of that wife. And some of that could be that the husband doesn't really believe or trust that the wife is going to follow through on this business. So there is a little bit of that is worth looking at as well. Like, if your husband is not trusting you to do this business, I think that sometimes you have to gain the trust of your husband in business, just like you do when you're dating him initially before you get married. You have to gain the trust of one another. And so to get him on board with your business, you have to show up with consistency. You have to show up with passion. You have to really prove to him this is something that you're gonna make work. Even Natalie Goddard, did you guys remember when she talked to us just a few weeks ago? Even Natalie Goddard's husband was a naysayer in the beginning. He didn't believe, he got mad, he was frustrated that she was spending more money than she was making initially, until she started making more money than him. And so that's the thing about doTERRA. So if you as a woman don't have a supportive husband yet, you focus on you. Focus on nourishing yourself with these oils. Focus on developing your mindset. Focus on developing your skill set as a doTERRA businesswoman, and show up with so much love and excitement and nourishing those people that do come and join your business, and be consistent. Sometimes it's just the fear of the husband not getting behind you, the fear of you being taken by Doterra as like, if they're like not a credible network marketing company, but if you come in with consistency and vigilance, he will change his mind. He might not ever do Doterra like Evan does Doterra with me. The husband's role can change depending on the relationship. We have good friends whose husbands don't work anymore because their Doterra business is so big, but their role is different. They take care of the children. Every man gets to choose how they want to show up in this business. But to get them on board, like really consider those things that we just shared.
I think that we could do a whole 1 hour call on how to get your husband involved or whatever. But I keep having more stuff. So one thing is, it's important to be as nice to your husband as you would be to a new prospect, right? So you would not like, if I had a friend like Patricia or Shirley, right? And I said, hey, would you be open to using natural solutions? And I would say that, right? So to your husband, you should probably say, would you be open to using something natural, right? You wouldn't say like, hey, Shirley, why don't you just use this? Why are you so stupid? Why do you always whatever, right? It's like the way that some people talk to their husbands sometimes. You need to soften that, right? And talk to your husband with the same respect that you would talk to a brand new business builder. Shirley or Sunny or Joanne, right? It's like, I would talk to them with respect, right? So you must respect your husband, or else it's like that. Then that might be the first thing you need to work on, the respect for the husband before you can get them to do this.
Well, I think the biggest challenge in working with your spouse is I think that there's a false understanding that you guys would be the same because you live together. Evan and I, one of the biggest challenges is learning how to respect one another's work styles. Like Evan loves to work many, many hours during the day. Like he loves 12-hour work days. He's so passionate about work. I'm really passionate about work, but if I work 8 hours, I'm not efficient. It's ridiculous. I'm like, I have the attention of a squirrel. So for me, what works really well for me is I have a list of what I'm going to tackle each day, and I knock that list out within 3 or 4 hours, and then I'm done with work. If I have a conference call, that might be on top of that 3 to 4 hours. If I have one-on-one calls, membership overviews, sometimes that's in addition to that. But for work purposes, 3 to 4 hours, that's it for me. And Evan, I know, like I used to be so mad that he would still be working at 6 o'clock at night. But now I understand he's happier when he can get through a big work day like that. And so come 7 o'clock, he's like a really happy person. Whereas if I would have made him stop at 5, he's not as joyful at dinner time, So really learning each other's strengths, understanding what makes each other happy. I think Doterra is really good for a marriage, to be honest, because there's so much opportunity for you to learn about one another in a way that I think a lot of couples never have the opportunity to learn about one another. So we studied each other's Clifton strengths. We studied each other's human designs. So we really love it. It's really, really fun, but there are challenges, just like working one-on-one with any person, there's challenges. But I think that with your spouse, there's often like a silent misunderstanding that like you're supposed to be my assistant in some ways.
Yeah. So that's one thing.
I think that's a huge mistake.
One thing that we see a lot of times is when a husband gets on board, maybe a wife gets all the way to like some higher rank, like to platinum or to gold, right? Yeah. But so a wife gets a gold or platinum and then brings a husband, and then now the husband has to do all the things that she hated doing, right? So she hates doing membership overviews. So now husband go out and do membership overviews, even though maybe he is not properly trained to do the membership overview. Or it's like, okay, so I like to teach the class, but I hate to make the sample balls. So you make the sample balls and you do them. So it's just like, he just starts doing all the stuff that she hates to do and not knowing necessarily if that's what he likes to do. So he should be allowed to do what he likes to do, just like you should be allowed to do what you like to do. And then also it's like, people have said before we got married, that marriage is an accelerator of things, right? So any problem that you have, when you get married, then those problems become even bigger problems, right? So Doterra is also an accelerator of things, right? So any issues that you had, right, working together this close to each other, every day, it will come to light. Like, it's like, you're going to have to deal with your issues. And because of that, that's why some people are like, I don't want my husband to work with me, right? Because I don't want to deal with issues. But if you can deal with issues, both of you, it's possible to be much stronger.
Doterra really is like, it's like a personal, it's a business for sure. It's an essential oil business, but one of the best benefits of Doterra, like the side effect of having a Doterra business, is you get to do a lot of personal development. And so it's so cool. If your spouse does want to get on board, it's so cool to have you guys both going through that, because all the things that you were initially attracted to when you were young, like things that attracted you to one another, those things start to come out again. You know, like when you do personal development, all of your gifts and strengths, they start to bubble up to the surface. And so it is really, really cool to be able to do that with your husband, but it's not for every husband. It's just not, and that's okay.
Just like it's not for every wife. Like, husbands can do it by themselves also.
There are plenty of husbands that do this by themselves. A lot of them, actually. How long did it take you to see a significant growth in your Doterra business? Well, we went silver in a year. That's because Evan and I, we taught classes like multiple times a month. We invited a lot of people to our classes.
Was it every Thursday, or?
I think it was, well, it wasn't every Thursday. I didn't do it every Thursday, but it was at least 1 or 2 Thursdays a month. But during those 1 or 2 classes, I would invite like 50 people to every class. So there was a lot of people coming to my classes. And I think that's the biggest issue for people when they get started. It's just not inviting enough people. And then that's, I think, how we grew so fast. And well, for us, silver felt fast like that. We have people on our team that go silver in like 90 days, gold in 4 months. Like, we have people on our team that are much faster, but for us, that felt fast. And I think that what determines the difference is how many people are you sharing oils with and how many people are you inviting every single month. It really does come down to numbers. Right. And so don't shy away from sampling people. Don't shy away from sharing oils. Like, show up big time for everybody in your life and you'll see big momentum.
Okay, so with her numbers issue, the like, you invite 50 people and then you have constant people, there is a certain amount of work to, like, so of work that needs to be put in for success to even be possible to happen, right? So there's this analogy of a plane taking off, boom, right? A plane must hit 180 miles per hour to have the energy to take off and fly, right? If your plane never hits that, like, you're just, I'll drive, now I'll take a nap, now I'll drive, now I'll walk away from my business for 2 months, now I'll drive, right? It's never really gonna have enough momentum to take off, right? So it's important that you stay consistent and keep adding fuel to that fire. But secondly, not everything that goes 180 miles per hour takes off, right? Like, there are some cars, there are some boats, they're just not made to take off, right? So it's important that you put the wings on and you make your vehicle able to fly if it wants to fly. So it's important that you come to the trainings and learn the skills to make you possible to be successful in a business. Like, you can invite 100 people every class every day. If you don't know how to teach a class, or if you have no PowerPoint and they're just looking at a black screen, it's like, I don't know how many people are gonna get on LRP. If you have no skills, no training, and no tools, it's like, it's not really gonna happen. So it's important we now gave you the tools. Now it's important for you to develop your skills.
Yeah, and in terms of mindset, you know, some of the best books to read when you first get started is, I really liked the book Making the First Circle Work. That was really helpful. I had a major issue, a huge block. Like, I hated network marketing. It was a big reason. It was a big thing that prevented me from starting my Doterra business for months. I read the book Beach Money. That really, really helped.
I like the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster.
Oh my gosh, the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster is a must read. For anybody that has their own business. It doesn't matter how long you've had your own business. When I read that book, Evan and I had already been business owners for 5 years in our other businesses. That book has honestly brought so much peace to the entrepreneurial journey. It is an incredible book. So that's a big one, the Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster.
Yeah, so this is a big thing to think about for yourself. What are you reading right now? What are you listening to right now to make yourself to personally develop yourself, right? And so, I mean, we even maybe have these questions, like say we're sitting around, maybe we're going to a party that's not a doTERRA party. And then I say, oh man, you know, I read this really cool book. It's called The Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster. And then if someone else at the party says, oh man, I really read that. I read that book. I love that book. I also love Think and Grow Rich. I also love Beach Money. I also love whatever, all these different books. If they're not yet enrolled in doTERRA, that might be someone that I want to talk to about potentially, are you into natural things? So like, well, that's like 2 of the 7 things that I want, right? So you're into natural things and you're into personal development. We might have something to talk about.
The last thing I just want to, Mike, I want to touch on this last thing. We've talked about a lot of things to do for your business today, right? You guys, and this goes really well with the Kai question about how fast do we grow. Do you guys know how many hours a week we were able to dedicate to our doTERRA business to go silver in a year? Guess. Take a guess. Like, take a guess. To go silver in a year, how many hours a week do you think that would require? Anybody? 50 hours a week, 16 hours,
maybe
8
100
hours, as many as needed, 12. All I could dedicate to our doTERRA business in our first year was 5 hours a week. That's 1 hour a day. So what that meant was during that 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday, I was not on Facebook. There was no Instagram back then. I spent 1 hour a day inviting people, reaching out, sharing samples, doing one-on-ones, doing membership overviews, okay? Like income generating activities are inviting, presenting, and enrolling.
Yeah, so PIPES, IPE. You take out the P and S, IPE.
So the IPE. Now, inviting also includes inviting current members to your membership overview. Inviting can also include inviting people to learn about the business. Presenting would be presenting your essential oil class, presenting a membership overview to your customers, presenting the business to people that you're interested in partnering with. And then enrolling means, yes, enrolling people to have their own wholesale account, enrolling people into the loyalty rewards program. Enrolling also refers to enrolling people into doing the business. But there was like literally no wasted minute in that 1 hour a day. And we repeated that process to go gold. When we went gold to diamond, I had stopped working 6 days a week. I went down to 4. And then to go from gold to diamond, I was still working 40 hours a week. To go gold to diamond, I was doing about 2 hours a day for 5 days a week. So about 10 hours a day. I think people get really tripped up thinking they have to spend all these hours to make real income with doTERRA. You don't, but you have to be efficient with your time. You have to focus on those income generating activities. Studying up on your presentation, that's actually not considered an IPE. So that wouldn't be included in that 5 hours. That would be included like an extra hour that week.
That would be the prepare, right? Like studying is preparing. If you're watching more Netflix per day than you're working on your doTERRA business, if you're doing 6 hours of Netflix and 5 hours of business, that could, maybe we should shift that a little bit, because I don't know if you want to be more successful in the watching of Netflix, like a Netflix reviewer, or if you want to be a doTERRA diamond, right? So if you want to have success in doTERRA, you have to give it the attention and love that it deserves. And then Melissa talked about gold to diamond. That's because we didn't really hit platinum. We went boop boop, right? We just we hit it 1 month, I think, and then we hit diamond.
It takes real intention to work that few hours to get to those kinds of goals. So really, like, you can do it. So if you have a full-time job, you can still go diamond. Trust me, you don't have to be able to, create an additional 40 hours a week to go diamond, but you have to get really focused on how you're spending your time. And it's all possible, I promise. We are not the only people to do this. There are literally thousands of people worldwide that are doing this, and you can do it too.
Yeah.
So take this week, study up on these continuing education PowerPoints, create a calendar with you and your team, and get to work teaching these things, you guys. Your people are waiting for this. I promise you, Your community is looking for natural solutions. There are so many people on their knees praying for financial healing. Don't be afraid to share this with people. There are people waiting for you to show up into their lives. So get going.
Yeah. So message Philippines@doterra.com for these slides.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evan and Melissa. And again, thank you so much for everyone to the great training from our Pre-Diamond leaders, Evan and Melissa Esguerra. And of course, we would like to invite everyone on Tuesday for our Doterra product training with Ms. Michelle Yong at 12 noon. Yes, once again, Evan and Melissa, thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
everyone, thank you so much and have a great night, everyone.
All right.